Chefs cause she's a trench one. She's so bougie, bougie. Never take. I'm a savage. Attitude nasty. Talk big, but my bank account match it. Hood, but I'm classy. Rich, but I'm ratchet. Haters kill my name in their mouth, not a gagging. Bougie. He say the way that thing move is a movie. Boy, we gotta keep it lowly, me the room. Hello, good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining Voices of Visions for another exciting and informative, and by the truth, we say the truth, updates on things that are going on in our community and that are affecting us. I would like to introduce my beautiful co-host, Rachel Hill. Oh, hey, boo.
Hey, hat day. You know what's up?
Hat day. Yes. I would like to introduce Miss Heidi Nichols, the philosopher.
So many thoughts, so little time. Hello, everyone.
I like how you said it all sultry and smoky.
And it was right. It was very, yes. Yes, it was. And last but not least, the one that keeps us all in line, Jocelyn Hurt.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
Hey, y'all. Hey, I was a little nervous today. My stomach wasn't acting right. I was scared. I didn't think I was gonna be able to make it. I can't do the taco mat no more.
No more taco mat.
Oh, it did something to me. I'm so serious. When you become I'm a pest. What am I? I'm not a vegan. Pescatarian, and you eat. I mean, even the slightest bit of any kind of meat, oil, grease, it will make you sick. I've been sick most of the day. My stomach has been upside down.
So just go back to eating meat and stuff.
No, thank you. No. After I watched that video, it was just disgusting. And I'm pretty sure Heidi's probably seen it with her being a teacher, where they show how they kill the animals and
it's intense. Every time I watch one of them, I'm vegetarian for a while. Although, so my sister's a vegetarian, and I've been with her for the last 5.5 months, and I started eating more and more vegetarian. And I have to say, I felt great. I feel great. I mean, I still have a little meat here and there, but it also, I mean, you want to talk about social justice, a lot of the way that some of our foods, especially meat, are produced are at the expense of underrepresented populations.
So that's something we need to definitely think about. The other thing I was going to say, I'm going to give a quick shout out. I usually don't give shout outs on this show, but I think I want to give 2 shout outs today. And if any of you all think of something, I want to give a shout out to Delta Airlines.
I thought you were about to say Delta Secret Theta. I was about to say that.
The Delta Airlines.
I thought you were about to say that.
Listen, we don't get paid for this show whatsoever. We don't get anything, but I want to give a shout out to them because of the way they handle young African-American female that was on a plane, and I guess it was a white female. She got offended because the young African-American female had on a Black Lives Matter mask. And she became very insulting, started talking about President Trump. And it's just weird to me how when some whites start talking about racism, they bring Trump into it. I'm just saying, and she made it very uncomfortable, but I heard this sister maintained her composure. Another white female got involved and basically started telling the Trump supporter, you out of line. Delta not only came over there and made it clear, Delta Airlines does not support any discrimination, and every one of our customers are treated equally on this plane. They her next plane trip, her plane trip to go home, they upgraded her to first class. They took very good care of her. Very good. So I'm a shout out Delta. You got me. I'm rocking with you, baby. I'll be on y'all.
That's how we were rocking with Delta. We like us some Delta. The other thing where we need to shout Delta out is because as far as of today, they are still separating people on the plane, unlike another airlines that will remain nameless, where they're still putting people in, and you're sitting all on the rows next to each other. Delta is still separating. If it's 3 rows, it's only 2 people in that row. So
not much with Delta.
Many props going up to Delta.
So Nakia was on that flight. So
no, she was not on that flight, but we just happened to see a Facebook post about it, and we were super excited once we saw it. We were like, see, that's why we rock with Delta. We already rock with Delta. That's the only way we fly, unless we don't have no other choice. But Delta is the only way we fly.
But just think about the nerves that it takes to go up to a perfect stranger and tell them that them wanting to live their life free of racism and inequality is offensive to you. But, you know, one of the things, though, we have to realize that we're talking to the descendants of slave owners, Klansmen, people who supported Jim Crow, people who support the school to prison pipeline, people who support the new Jim Crow. So these are their ancestors and descendants. So we have to remember who we trying to talk to and plead our humanity to. So I'm almost at the point where I'm just done with it, because racism is a team sport and it's been played for 400 plus years. And I wish somebody would come up and say something to me. I am praying. But we in Cleveland, Ohio. It don't happen like that often. It's very covert here. But I just wish I was one of those people.
You live in the well, I pray the Lord I don't want to deal with nothing like that.
I'm waiting for it though. I'm waiting for it because I'm ready. I am ready for that. Look, I am ready.
I gotta find some little music on there to be like,
stay ready.
Radical,
You don't gotta
radical
get ready.
Or something. You know, radical. Yeah, and then I'll put on for Heidi. You're the philosopher. Yes. Yes. I gotta find some music.
But she more about it than me. But you know what? They know who to pick on, and they catch the right one. Because don't catch the right one on the wrong day. Absolutely. But it's gonna be a right day. But they catch the right one.
Absolutely.
It ain't going down like that with me, flat out.
But you've noticed, this was what I was gonna bring to you guys' attention too. Oh, let me do my second shout out. Y'all made me forget the second shout out I was gonna do, because it was
no.
Oh man.
Well, just keep it with Delta.
Hey, man, I
Delta Sigma Theta.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Listen, we not gonna go back.
Rachel.
Anyway.
Sorry.
The other thing I wanted to, it was somebody else I wanted to shout out, and I totally forgot, and I apologize. I hope it comes back to my remembrance, but something I wanted to bring, shout out, somebody else I wanted to shout out was Lisa. What's Lisa's last name from Halo?
I'm gonna say it wrong. Yumina.
Okay, I want to shout out her Halo book publishing company as the number one African American book publishing company there is. Shout out to you, girl.
Yes.
Much love to you. Much love. We're sending love out to you. I truly appreciate those who are standing with us. Period. Right. Because there are a lot of people that look just like us and ain't standing with us. So to me, if you standing with us for equality and just basic human rights that everybody should be afforded to, no matter what the complexion of their skin. Like I said, it's really only one race, the human race. And Heidi kind of touched on it before, like all this division, black and white. It wasn't even like that at first. It was the human race. But of course, you know, we have to have, somebody has to feel superior. And when they start, I got to be superior than you. So it's the white race. White is right, which is not always true. Black is powerful, baby. That's the only thing I know. You can drop a dip in and change the color.
That's right. Every time you go get something else.
I'm just saying, we are beautiful. Y'all, our children, I wanted to also say our African-American, Asiatic, Hispanic, melon community, you are beautiful. Don't you let nobody tell you who you are, baby. You are beautiful. You are strong. You are uniquely made. You are uniquely created, and nobody is superior to you but God. Do you hear me? With your beautiful Black, Hispanic, Indian, Asian selves. Do you understand what I'm saying? And to my white sisters and brothers that rock with us, y'all beautiful too. Anybody that rocks against us, I ain't got no holler for you. I stand for justice no matter who is for or against. Ain't no racism here, and ain't no division. So I'm sorry. That's
an awesome way to get into the topic of today. Are you wanting to talk about the little girl, or you have something else you want to talk about first?
Heidi, I wanted to go into that subject, Heidi, that you brought to our attention last
Yeah.
Well, ironically, last week we were discussing about, well, we've talked about multiple times, but about diversity, bias, inclusivity kinds of trainings. And literally the next day, the report was dropped that President Trump has highly encouraged that all federal agencies cancel diversity training, which is also ironic since there's been all this negative talk about cancel culture and then you cancel. But if you read the statements, it talks about how bias or diversity, and I prefer the term inclusivity training because I also think that we've like watered down the terms diversity. It kind of means nothing now. It's a bunch of hands in the air. But it was suggested that it's anti-American. It suggests, and there's a couple things that are super problematic with this. It suggests that it's divisive and that it is what is creating racial problems within this country. One, that's reflective to me of every time I've ever been told, and I'm sure you all have heard the same, because you talk about racism, you're keeping racism alive. One, I'm not that powerful. Two, talking about it isn't what keeps it alive. Not talking about it is what allows it to thrive. Then when we say that it's anti-American and he like put down critical race theory, which people who don't necessarily know what critical race theory, it came out of the postmodernism movement, and saying really there's an absence of voices and that the voices had been traditionally white male. And it was calling for other people's perspectives to be included, and that was postmodernism. By the time you were getting to critical race theory, it was saying anybody who's not including these other voices is a part of continuing and maintaining the white supremacist structure that's already in place. And so to suggest that that's anti-American means we're defining what is American. It means that we're choosing to say that anybody who is not of European descent is not American, and their voice would not necessarily need to be included into these conversations. So I'm outraged. This is what I do. This is my entire platform of what I talk about on a daily basis with students, my mission in life. And to read that it's coming out of Washington declaring that this is anti-American, ticked off.
When are you doing a video, Heidi?
You know what?
You really do need to. I'm being honest, because we're definitely posting on Officer Nakia Jones' page. Number one, I told you all, before you can get justice, you have to have truth. So if they continue to bury the truth about who we are and what we went through, a lot of us get sleep. Some of us, it's sad to say, I know 20-year-olds, if you ask them what the Black National Negro Anthem is, they don't know. Yeah. But my thing is, if you're going to pull out diversity teachings in school, then you need to take out the Civil War. You need to take out all the history. Yeah. You can't just pick and choose. But I'm asking you as African Americans, why do you think that? Because we're a powerful group of people. They're afraid of us to know the truth. And a lot of us don't understand that. And I employ all of you on here, even whites, everybody that's rocking with us, to write to your senators, write to your school board, and demand that Black history, I think any ethnicity that's in that school, their history should be taught, period. That's just how it is. That's how it's fair. America is not built up on just whites. Right. America was built on the backs of Indians. I'm just saying, and we gonna get all the way 100%. And then they took us and put us to work. We built these. We put our hands to the soil. Let's keep it all the way 100. If America was ever gonna be great, is if we were running this mother, because we built it. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to anybody else. I'm just telling the truth. And all of us should be appalled by somebody saying, I'm not going to teach diversity. If you don't have that, you see, diversity is watered down in the police academies already. It needs to be revamped. So could you imagine if they take it all the way out? Right. You need to learn.
You brought up that point. I can't remember when we were talking about it, but you were saying that you felt like it's if they had that training, that diversity training, then officers would not have such a hard time when they would go into African American neighborhoods, because they would know so much more about the background, the culture, how, that African Americans typically talk with their hand. They're a little bit more verbal and it doesn't mean that they're trying to be aggressive. You know, they immediately take that for being aggressive. Just because another person might talk to you more calmly, might not use their hands, that person could be a little bit more violent and shock you, take you off guard.
Absolutely.
You know, so that diversity training could do nothing but help and assist you to do your job better.
And you will know who you're going to be laboring amongst. For me,
that's right.
If you give that culture sensitivity, you're going to be honest. You're going to say in some neighborhoods are going to be very poor. They're going to be poverty stricken. Can you deal with that? Are you okay with saying I can put myself on the same level as somebody that's on welfare? That I can have compassion for somebody that's lower than me, or have compassion for somebody that I'm jealous because they make more money than me and I feel like I'm white or I'm whatever and I should be superior to them. These are the questions that, to me, you cannot protect a community that you're not willing to serve. And with servitude comes humility. That means that I will step outside of who I am to make sure you're right. I'm going to listen to your problem and I'm going to try to help you solve it. I can't use my own tactics because we're from two different cultures. I may not understand it, or I'm going to go to another officer and say, hey, listen, I don't understand what this person going through. They need help. Can you help me?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of looking at them because they're not exactly like you or grew up like you or have the same values as you, that you're better than them. You have to understand somebody's upbringing, what they've been through in life is going to tell a lot about them. But you're supposed to be serving these people, so you should want to know who you're laboring amongst in your communities. I think if more officers were really in the communities and knew how to serve their communities, it would be less likely that Black unarmed males and females would die at the hands of police. But because they won't take the time to really learn their communities, they're afraid. They're afraid. We all know we're afraid of things that we don't understand.
Mm-hmm. And that was that othering we were talking about last week, right? Whenever we're using the phrasing of they, it means we've made them other than us. And diversity is really just about appreciating and celebrating that which makes us all unique. It's not a simple reduction down in race. It's about getting to what we call cultural relativity, understanding why people do within the context of their communities, because what you may see as odd and strange makes complete sense. It's logical and it has a function, or it has a historical context within whatever culture you're talking about, right? And that's what diversity training is really supposed to be designed to do, is to create empathy. I didn't say sympathy, empathy for another person's experience, to start to understand the larger human condition and to understand people within the context of their communities. Not only will it hopefully prevent, knee-jerk trigger happy fingers, it should also really enable you to better serve whatever community you're in, because then you start to truly understand what are the needs of that community, not what you've been told are the needs of people, because we're all unique. We all have different needs. You can't use the same model. This is what was done when there was what would be called the ethnocide post-slavery, right? So like trying to break down the Black family, trying to break down and remove any kind of African-rooted cultural beliefs, traits, dances, etc., all of it. Same thing within Indigenous communities, same thing within Latinx communities, within Asian communities, and it's called ethnocide. You're removing, you're being a dominant culture, and dominant doesn't have to just be number. It can also be in power, in finances. And so you're saying, I'm dominant, assimilate, you're in America, do this the American way, which by the way, that's not what America was originally. And telling people to have to do it that way, you're literally killing off their culture, whatever that is. Coming from an Indigenous background, I don't know a lot of things about my history because we don't have any access to it, right? And you see this from community to community to community. And so ideally, truly impactful diversity training is to start to try to teach one another to actually try to care and understand about one another, and to make each other less scary. We need to kill off the xenophobia, not feed into it.
And my thing is, And my thing is, you don't have to agree with the way, you might have not agreed with the way the Indian culture do it, or the African American culture, or the Asian culture, but it's a respect that we should all have for one another. It's a certain respect, and we could learn from one another. There may be some Indian culture that I could use. I'm not Buddhist, but I do practice some things. I do meditate. But I'm not Buddhist. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. I may not be considered Muslim, but I pray to the East. You understand where I'm going with this? You know what I mean? I'm not Jehovah's Witness, but I do speak the word of God to different people. You understand where I'm going with this? It's certain things that I've taken from different people, but if you become so blank to it's my way or no way, you close yourself off, and what happens is you become foolish.
Right.
And then you start to believe that you're superior. And what happens is, as soon as you stop learning, and as soon as you're not open to other people, you are like a dark room that will never have a light in it. And that's my issue. So it's very important. We're employing you all. Please, you all, make sure that in your schools, with your students, with your children, in your communities, I don't care if you don't have children, your voice is important, that you ask them, is Black history being taught here? Are you teaching about Hispanics? Are you teaching about the Indian? And not that watered down, oh, the Indians came and they sat and broke bread with the white pilgrims, and this is what happened, and this is what went on, and they were all friends. No, tell the truth.
Right. Actually, that meal, there was one meal where there was a sharing, but Thanksgiving was used after every slaughter of wiping out various indigenous communities. People would gather together and break bread together to give thanks for taking over an indigenous community.
And right. So the real history. Wait. In the real history.
No, right. Say that again, Heidi. I think that's very important.
I'll put a great YouTube link where it's kind of like a 10-minute, gives an oversight. I mean, Thanksgiving as we know it is the epitome of whitewashing. Mm-hmm. It's saying, oh, you had the little native and you had the little pilgrim and they sat down, and sometimes it's the pilgrims were feeding the natives and sometimes the natives were feeding the pilgrims, but it's the same kind of kumbaya story. But what really happened and what was labeled Thanksgiving, because this came out of at that time it wasn't really Washington, came out of the government, was calling it giving thanks after slaughters of entire indigenous communities. And they would break bread together. So Thanksgiving didn't just happen once in a year necessarily. And then it's been revamped, and it's much more palatable because who wants to have to think about it? Right. And I love the concept of having a time period where we sit down with our families or our loved ones, our friends, and giving things. We could, gratitude, that's super humbling. And it's really important, I think, to keep that center and perspective. But that's not what the history of Thanksgiving is. And we're not teaching it. I can remember in elementary school, do you want to wear these little construction feathers? No, I'm good. Like, no, thank you. Or do you want to wear the little pilgrim bonnet? And let's tell we're perpetuating a myth. Right. And then I get students in my class who are like, why didn't I learn this history? It's like learning the real application of the word picnic, understanding where eeny, meeny, miny, mo came from, understanding how the crows in Dumbo really are a reflection of Jim Crow. Learn the history. We need to they shouldn't be getting into my college classroom and having this conversation for the first time.
Right.
What you're seeing is either people don't know how to teach it, they don't know about it, right? Or they're super resistant.
Right.
It's because we're maintaining the status quo. And that status quo, if you go back to critical race theory, is rooted in the origins of white supremacy. It doesn't mean I'm calling you a white supremacist because you've been engaging in those teachings. Right. I'm saying the system is elementarily white supremacist.
And let me tell you something else too about the diversity. And I need you all to hear this and hear this clear. Do you know, Rachel, Jocelyn, and Heidi, how much history African Americans have made just in the past 6 months? They said that when we stepped up and all of those marches came a protest, and I'm not going to call it riots because we ain't going to even play that. Those they said that was the biggest protest ever in history. We are still making history. Do you understand President Barack Obama was the first Black president? Do you understand they stopped diversity diversity training, they can erase history, which means that my great-great-great-great-grandchildren wouldn't understand that we've had a Black president. I ain't trying to be funny. We had one before him, but I'm going to leave that alone because y'all might not be ready for that yet. Because Abraham Lincoln was not a white man. Anyway, let me go back. Anyway, I don't want to get too hype on y'all, but think of all this history. You have the first African-American female about to be vice president. They can erase history. Do y'all hear what I'm telling y'all? We have got to fight to make sure our history, because if our children don't know where they came from, they will not understand where they're going. They won't understand the power inside them. They will allow others to write that narrative. You a nigga, you nasty, you'll never be nothing. Y'all need to be put against each other, because if he stay around, you ain't gonna never get up. You got to get rid of him. You got to destroy him so that you can come up. That's the reason why you got so many Black men killing each other. You got Black women at odds with each other because you light, you dark, you this and that. They want you to continue to pit yourself against each other, because the strongest thing you could do is unite. I've talked about it in my second book. There's no such a thing as Black on Black crime. Stop yelling at Black. Candace Owen, I'm gonna call you out again, girl. You called out Carly B. You called out Carly B and talked about a real disrespect. You were very disrespectful. Come holler at your girl. I don't want to talk statistics. Statistics is easy. I can Google statistics. I want to know what you know up here. I want to tell you about life. Let me tell you one thing, sister.
You're not ready.
You're still Black. And one of the most disrespected, unvalued, and most unprotected woman in the world is a Black woman. And I don't care whether you're married to a white man or not, you are still Black, and you are a disgrace to your race. Woo! And I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to sit it right here. Come holler at your girl. You are very disrespectful. You are extremely disrespectful. And I'm calling you out on that. You need to sit down and be humble and keep spewing all this ignorance to us. And some of us are that ignorant to listen to you. I'm going to shut it down. The devil is a liar. I'm calling y'all. Come sit on the platform. Holler at your girl. I'm done.
She's not ready, though, Kai. She's not ready for that.
I just wanted to come holler. I don't like that.
Give her the invitation. She got an open invitation.
One thing for certain. Listen here. I love you. If you're African American and if you're a terrible person, no, I don't like your ways. I don't like your ways, and I don't like what you're doing. But if a white person did something, I wouldn't like their ways either. But what I will not do is be disrespectful to the race that I am. Because when I disrespect my race, I disrespect myself. Period.
Should I give her the email address and the way for her to contact
Absolutely.
Yes, Miss Candace. You can contact us at mrsnakiajones@gmail.com. We welcome the email.
Welcome you.
Set it up for you.
Listen, I ain't a WAP girl. I don't do that, but I do have a certain amount of admiration and respect for you for sitting down with Joe Biden, and you absolutely should be able to sit down, because you are the voice for a lot of young people. A lot of young people follow you, and I respect that about you, sister. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, I'm not here to judge you. That is not my place.
Right.
Well, I have some things I'd like to talk to Candace about, her little segment on Indigenous people, and we were all cannibals and drinking blood. And let me introduce you to science and facts and history, and let me teach you about the diversity of the nations. And
it's so disrespectful.
Conversation, please.
It's just okay on y'all, because I got to hit this. Did you all see the article of the 11-year-old girl that it was a young white male and he was saying racial slurs, and she stood up at 11 years old and said, "My Black is beautiful," and he hit her in the mouth with a pole?
We posted it on the Real Officer Nakia Jones page, as well as the Instagram page, Officer Nakia Jones. So if you didn't get a chance to see that article, please take a look at it. There's a picture of her, how he swole her face up. And
11 years old.
It's heinous.
And it seems like the closer we're getting to election, Rachel, I'm ready for the radical to come in. The closer we're getting to the election, we're starting to see a lot of racism raise its head, even to the fact of people are protesting in support of Donald Trump. I'm not against protests. If you want to protest, that's totally on you. That is not what I'm against, because if I'm saying I'm against you protesting, I got to be against everybody. So that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is how do you have protesters that are protesting peacefully being attacked, but then you have these protesters that are standing for Donald Trump attacking people, and it's okay? I'm just curious of what you all think about that.
Called a double standard. It's called a double standard all day, every day.
And it's not the first time. I mean, let's look back at the civil rights movement. How many things, anytime that people were protesting, the same rhetoric that was coming out of, well, actually even post-civil rights, when you start getting into the rise of the Black Panther Party, when you have Stokely talking, there was a lot of narrative of the thugs and the idea of really trying to keep anybody from coming together that didn't represent or reflect the powers that were in place. And yet the language of, freedom fighters and people who really, good people who are fighting on just the direct opposite of the end of the continuum. This is historically a way to keep people in place. This is what I mean by a continuation of a white supremacist system.
So if you're seeing this type of behavior from many people that are saying they support Donald Trump, what does that tell you about the energy that he's putting into the atmosphere? Because I'm not trying to be funny. We had some racial issues when President Barack Obama was, we know the names he was called and his wife and monkeys and all this crazy stuff, but you didn't see us out there acting like that. I didn't see no blacks out there acting crazy and attacking white. All kind of craziness is going on. You understand where I'm going with this? As the president of the United States, you not only, number one, it's not about you anymore. Leadership is hard. Anytime you get ready to step up to be a leader, if you thinking, it's gonna be, you're wrong for the job. Leadership is humility. Leadership is stepping outside of your own way to see see other people's way. Leadership is making decisions when you may not even feel good about it for the betterment of the country. Number one, you've never mentioned Black Lives Matter, but you talk about Blue Lives Matter. And let me say, I'm not anti-police. I rocks with good police officers. Do you hear me? But I am against those thugs. When you misabuse your power and you take it like you're a god, I have a problem with you. And to me, you don't deserve to wear that uniform. But as I wrote in my second book, I understand the energy behind what policing started. I had to read up on the slave patrol and it made me sick. Their oath made me want to throw up in my mouth. When you get the new book, you'll see it almost, the energy behind it is almost like you need to dismantle it and name it something else. I'm being totally honest. But you're promoting Blue Lives Matter, but you think Black Lives Matter is a hate group. But you got police officers going rogue, killing people. You got Black Lives Matter. You keep saying these people are tearing up stuff when 90% of the people that are saying Black Lives Matter are not a part of the organization. It's a slogan. It's a slogan. And then you saw when they were arresting the people that were tearing up all these protesters, predominantly they were white.
Yep.
And
you have to
some of them were paid protesters.
Yeah, you have to.
Yes, they're paid protesters, and we don't educate the people. We don't educate them. Their job is to come, disrupt the protest, and go to jail. Did y'all know that? And they have an attorney on standby. That I'm telling you, I was a cop. We always got warned about them. The paid protesters. So they're there to disrupt and cause problems so that we'll take the focus off the main problem. Oh, look at them. They're looting. They're tearing up stuff. Come on, y'all. You got to pay attention to what's going on.
They don't want you to see, or like Kai said, to divert your attention, but they don't want you to see what the real message is. You're going to take attention all the way from what the message is. And like Kai said, it's a slogan. Most people are not really a part of the organization, but they're drawing attention to it by using that slogan, Black Lives Matter. And then when you turn around and you say Blue Lives Matter, Blue Lives is not, I'm not blue. There are no blue people. I can't take off my black skin, but you can take off your blue uniform. So when you rebuttal with that, it's just so stupid and ignorant. It's just the dumbest rebuttal ever for you to say, oh, but Blue Lives Matter. No, actually, that's stupid.
You know what's crazy? This is something, too, I wanted to bring to you guys. Could you imagine being a good law enforcement officer that's black and blue right now? You will feel like, number one, you fighting behind enemy lines. I'm gonna leave that right there. Hashtag that behind the blue door. Anyway, it will feel like you will feel like I'm here to do a job, but I'm divided in here. You know what I'm saying? I got these people that's supposed to have my back, and I'm supposed to have their back, but I'm seeing the injustice that's being placed upon my people. And so I want to stand in the gap and protect them, but I also am here to protect the police officers as well. But then the community is against me too. Mm-hmm. Where do those officers stand? Where do they get that support from?
Well, if they don't get it from us, they don't get it.
And they feel alone. It's almost like a African American that lives in the community, and you want to do the right thing, and you know you're doing things, but you scared because you've moved into a predominantly more maybe influential community, maybe a predominantly white community, and now you feel a little bit safe, like, all right, I'm a little safe here, but now you're afraid of what your neighbor's gonna do. They're gonna pull your Black Lives Matter sign out your yard and set it on fire, but then you're afraid if something happens, the police is gonna target my door first because I'm the only Black on the street.
Right.
But I damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't, because if I move back into a Black neighborhood, now I gotta be concerned, is Juke Duke or somebody gonna break in my house and do something to me?
Right.
I mean, it's almost, I couldn't, being in this skin, if people could understand the things that we go through. You know what I'm saying? Not only are we have to be afraid of racism, we have to be afraid of racism in our own race. We have to be afraid of people that want to hurt us just because we have more than them, or they think we have more than them. We have to be afraid of the justice system because the justice system don't work for us. We got to be afraid of the people that's supposed to serve and protect us. That's a lot. Then we're trying to raise our young African-American males to be prominent members of society. We send them to college. We send them here. Bolton John, shot in his house. Come on, y'all. And this man, his parents was raising him to be a productive member of society. This wasn't no dude out here losing his mind and acting crazy. So it seems like the ones that are trying to do the right thing, they're getting targeted just as well.
Right.
I feel like sometimes we're fighting a no-win battle. And the only way we can defeat this is to unite as one, as a human race. It's not just a Black thing. It should be a white thing. It should be a Hispanic thing. We should have been appalled when them Hispanics were being taken from their families and drug off. And do y'all all know that some of those children are still in concentration camps, and they've sold some of them children off of sex trafficking? They haven't even been reunited. And I don't want to hear about that bull talking about they weren't supposed to be over in this country anyway. Well, not being funny, some of y'all weren't supposed to be in this country either, but y'all came and took it over. I'm just saying. Just like I was never a slave, you might not never been a slave owner, but we still going through the same mess. So don't call a spade unless you're ready to put it all on the table. Don't tell half truths. Whose country really is this?
Tell us.
I'm just asking.
Heidi,
all of us should have been.
Raise your hand, Heidi.
I'm like, hi.
The Indians started this out over here.
That's right.
We always keep it. That's what upsets me so bad. That's the reason why this country is never going to succeed until the truth be told, because we were built on so many lies that God is shaking some stuff up, and that's what's happening. And you're seeing the movement right now. Everybody should have been appalled. Whites, Black. I was appalled when I seen a Hispanic lady on the daggone TV today on a commercial supporting Trump, saying, my husband was a officer. He died in the line of duty. I sympathize with you. But your Hispanic people he took children out of the arms of their mothers.
Yeah.
Are you nuts? What is wrong with you? I just think that people are, no, they're not hating the police. What they're saying is, for the police to get respect, they have to give respect. They're not above the law. They're supposed to uphold the law, but they're not supposed to be above the law.
That's right.
And that's what we're saying. They're not saying
they lose sight of. That's what they lose sight of every time.
Absolutely.
They go out there and they have this God complex. They forget that that's a human being too. I'm a human being. There's a lot of officers, if they thought about it, you're right around, you don't identify yourself. You are just like me and any other person walking down the street.
That's right.
You take that uniform off, you are still human. You're just a man or a woman. That's it.
That's right.
Well, and for anyone protesting against police, one of the ways to think about it, one, like you were mentioning about human empathy, just caring about your fellow human being, but also think about, in some ways, when you're speaking out, when officers are engaging in inhumane behavior, you're also helping them. You're helping them to be better people. You're helping them to say, this is the wrong path, don't come down it, right? Because I think that kind of stuff just chips away. I'm not saying, before somebody accuses me, that I said that the police are equivalent to the Third Reich. Just relax. But isn't that how that started? It was little by little, first we're just making this policy change. It's all in the name of nationalism. You can't speak out. No, we support them. Oh, wait, now they're getting people who are my neighbors. I don't know how I feel about it. And then it's like the German theologian who spoke out, I cannot remember his name at this precise moment, who said they came for this person, no one was there, no one spoke up. Then they came for this, I didn't speak out. Then they came for this, they didn't speak out. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak. So don't see, one, it's helping the greater nation. Like, to me, that's true nationalism, is the idea of caring about all the citizens and bodies that are within this nation, whether they're here legally or not. They're humans. And then two, think about, you're assisting in the soul of that officer, and you're reminding all officers, don't go down that path, as tempting as it might be, as much as that structure has already been laid out for you, or that it's become normalized. Remember your humanity, and we're not going to allow or accept anything less than kindness. Period.
That's right. And racism is built on hate. You're seeing whites that are getting attacked by other whites. So that's what I tried to tell y'all in the beginning. You all are laughing about blacks getting killed by police and Hispanics. Oh, baby, it's around the corner. You better listen to
it's already happening.
It's already happening. It's already happening. It's coming. And a lot of you all are waking up saying, whoa, this is almost like a Hitler thing. What the heck? It's almost like they're not going to see you as a human being anymore. I don't care what color you are. The only thing they're going to see is, I'm superior to you. You do what I say do. But we put y'all in that position. We pay taxes so that you can, I'm a little confused here. We have the power. It's almost like voting. We have the power to vote you in and to vote you out. But it's almost like we become so lazy and complacent, like, well, ain't nothing gonna change, so we gonna continue to do it this way. Well, it don't matter. Well, how you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. That's not what's gonna happen. You have got to get up off your behind. You got to research, and you got to vote, period. You have got to vote the person in that's going to be your voice. No, we're not going to like everything they do. No, we're not going to agree with everything they do. But I'm going to tell you, you better vote in the less of two evils. Look at the fruit of the tree. The tree is always going to show you who they are. Look at everything that's happened since Trump has been in office. I have never seen so much racism, police brutality. I mean, it's almost like it's at an all-time high. I've never seen nothing like this before. It's crazy. It's like, oh my God, what is happening here? It doesn't make any sense.
On that thought process, do you think it is, and I've often wondered, do you think it is that there were just this many racist people, and they were just and now that Trump is in office and he's basically said, it's okay to be racist, go ahead and say what you like? Or do you think there's so many things happening that is just inciting it? Like, what do you think I know it's always been there, but why is it so vicious now? Why do you think that is?
Because our leader condones it. When you have a leader of a nation that's supposed to be the most powerful man in the world, that says, this, that, and the other, grab a woman by the coochie, take the families away from the blah, blah, blah. And then after I start ripping them apart and people start criticizing me, I'm going to blame it on Barack Obama because he signed this in office before. I'm going to say all kinds. When you're dealing with criminals, bust their head up against the car sometimes. Don't go easy with them. Oh, I remember that black dude right there. If he starts to fight, you go ahead and do, because I know what we would have done back in the day for him, and I'll bail you out of jail. This is the leader of and I'm just saying from his works. I'm talking about what's coming out of his mouth.
Based off of that, are people now formulating new opinions and saying, yeah, black people, la, la, la? Or do you think they just always felt that way? It was suppressed, but now that he's saying that, they're showing their true colors?
I think you got both sides. I think you got some that all been wanting to say it for a long time, and it was like, no, because I need Black to do such, or I need them to, and that's how the North is. The North is very funny. The North is, I'll smile in your face, but I'll rip you apart.
They smile in your face and stab you in the back.
Now the South is a little different. The South, most of the South is, if they don't like you, they don't rock with you. They don't mess with you, period. They look at you, you look away and go away. So I think that you have more Northerners now, like, saying all kind of crazy stuff because it has become acceptable. And now it's starting to become normal. It's starting to affect our children. 11-year-old child being hit. What are your parents teaching you? So at home, I know that your parents is talking about niggas. I know that your parents are saying Blacks is this and Blacks is that. But with that type of hatred going on inside your home, my question is, who are you? I don't want my kids around your kids if you teaching them that type of stuff. I tell my children, you judge a man by the contents of their character, not the color of their skin. It doesn't matter. Right. If a Black man or a Black boy treat you wrong, you get in his behind. But white, it don't make a difference. You treat others the way you want to be treated. We don't teach that type of stuff in our house. But now what you're doing is you're raising up younger children to become, and they're more violent. You hit a baby in the mouth with a pole, 11-year-old child.
And I think I think that many of these beliefs were already there. Maybe some people knew they were there and they suppressed them, and they've basically been given permission to express them, or people who didn't really weren't even consciously aware, but all of a sudden they're feeling like their reality is being challenged, their access to things are being challenged. You know, having to hear about history and its reality and its raw, brutal reality is super uncomfortable. And so some people are just going to fight back as hard as they possibly can, not because I think that in their minds, I think that they don't even realize that that's stemming from racism.
Right.
Which I think goes back to another question you guys asked earlier. Why are so many things happening right now? I do think that we have leadership that is saying, that this is okay and encouraging it. And I'm going to put a pin in that for 1 second. But I also think that this is a sign that there's really changes being made, because it's not simmering down, it's boiling, it's staying at the top. And we talked about this on Saturday. The more people feel cornered, right? The more you corner an animal, and then they feel like something that they're risking their survival, and this is talking about your status quo survival, the more likely they are to push back and more violently. I think that's what's happening, is people are pushing back.
And you're starting to see that. You're starting to see where white males are walking up into Black males' phases, and you seeing these Black, boom, and then all of a sudden he's a thug. How is he a thug? Do you understand?
But why were you in my face?
Why were you in my? And the thing is, it's to the point where you cannot continue to push somebody up against the wall. You cannot, even an animal. Jacob is small, but if I get to putting him up against the wall, he's going to attack. What do you expect us to do? We try to come in peace. We even try to stay in our own neighborhoods. Y'all say Black on Black crime. We ain't came in nobody's neighborhoods. Yes, it's terrible for us, but many of us are living in poverty. Many of us don't have nothing to eat. Many of us are not educated enough to get a job, and they don't want to give us a job. Many of us have been incarcerated when we shouldn't have, where there's been whites that got a smack on the hand so that they wouldn't get a daggone record. So now you making it where men can't get a job. What do you expect they're going to do? If you turn it loose in a white neighborhood, they going to tear up a white neighborhood. They got to survive. So why don't you do something different? Start educating them. Start giving them jobs. Start giving them an opportunity where they can change. And if you don't want to change at that point, maybe you do need to be behind bars.
Right.
Do you understand what
I'm
saying?
Chances, right. The chances are limited. The chances are so limited. So limited. And
yes, they are.
Pressed,
So you wonder why it's going on in our family. You wonder why families are torn apart. You got mothers killing themselves trying to work to provide for a family, and they can't raise their children properly because they got to go make sure food is on the table because you took the man out of the home. Right. You told the mother that if you have a man in your house, I ain't giving you Section 8 to help you. if we find out he's in here, we're going to take it from you. Now let's just keep it
all of the benefits, if you want to be real about it. Healthcare, food, anything. If you have a man there in the house, you can't have it. I was able to provide for me and my son better with it just being me and my son than when I was married. When I'm saying from, I was able to get food stamps and it's just me and my son making the same money, but because the man was gone. Now, mind you, we were making comparable pay. It wasn't like he was making astronomically higher money than me. Our money was comparable. So we kind of balanced each other out. But when he left, I was able to provide better for my son than when he was there because they were giving me these benefits. Why can't I have these same benefits, healthcare and these things? Because the man is there. I'm not asking you to give it to me for free, but can I get some assistance?
Listen, and we're supposed to be one of the richest countries in the world. Why isn't that everybody has health care, especially with this coronavirus going around? Why isn't that Canada, they have health care across, everybody gets free health care. Everybody. And just like I think we talked about this before, y'all, when I said it's a shame when I go past and I see veterans out on the ground, don't have nowhere to go. The VA hospital is a joke. These are people that served our country. They done seen some stuff that none of us ever want to see. We don't take care of them. They don't get the proper mental health care. They should have health care for the rest of their life. They shouldn't have to pay no rent. There should be housing in place for them when they come home. They should be able to go and sit down and talk to a counselor and help with their families and those kind of things. It's so many of them that we neglect, and that's white, black, it's sad. It's almost like the United States, I'll use you as long as I can. And when I'm done with you, I'll throw you back to your way.
Nakia, what you're saying, I don't know if anyone has listened to Stokely Carmichael's speeches. There are so many parallels to what you're saying that he was saying back in 1967, 68, 69. The same things about neighborhoods, about support, about healthcare, about violence. And I just showed today my students if somebody wants to get started on this, like to learn more about, because what we're seeing right now has happened. And like people are like, oh, it's better. No, it's not. And it's called Black Power, the Black Power Mixtape. Excellent documentary. And it's a great way to be exposed, like for people who maybe haven't known about certain other Black activists during post-civil rights, right? We often kind of talk specifically about civil rights or right up to. So like sometimes you'll hear people talking about like James Baldwin and his work, especially when I'm Not Your Negro came out. Everybody was like, oh, maybe I need to be looking into Baldwin stuff. But this is talking about the work that happened after and continuing to happen. And I was just reminded watching it today of how many people I was exposed to from the first time that I watched it and how many speeches, and it made me interested. You know, it really touches in briefly on Huey Newton, touches on Eldridge, on Angela Davis, on Assata Shakur, on Stokely Carmichael. But if anyone wants to watch it, take a look and see that the same arguments. And one of the main arguments that is going through there is about you got to keep people divided. That's when you're introducing drugs. It's when you're taking away the Black man in the family. It's where you're giving assistance at a disproportionate rate. It's where you are basically numbing people or making people feel so hopeless and helpless that then they don't fight back. And what's happening right now, and I guess my fear, is that people are fighting back. People are resisting. So we have to be very cautious because this is when things are going to be continuously introduced. It's where people are going to be numbed. They either need to buy into a new rhetoric, and any of those agitators, they're going to be looking for ways to start to numb or disenfranchise any of the followers. That could be by, I don't know that whether or not there'd be a government killing of individuals, but it will be to defame at the very least. It will be people who are speaking out know that you are a target and keep doing it. And people who, going back to the police, when you see good police, encourage good police. And
in them.
Support them. And listen, and when you all, I'm not a big GoFundMe person. I don't want to talk about that right now. But when an officer does a GoFundMe account, make sure they lost something. Make sure it's an officer that lost everything. You all, if they still have their jobs, you all, this is a hard time right now. Coronavirus is going on. Stop giving to people that are not really in need. And any officer that is doing that, you need to be ashamed of yourself. There are many of us that are struggling. That don't have jobs, that spoke up, and that is not right. And what are you putting out into the community? What are people looking? They're like, wait a minute, when they found that you're still working and we're giving you money, what are you taking it for? What are you doing with it? You understand what I mean? It saddens me. It saddens me because I hate for people to take advantage of other people. That is a problem for me. I did want to touch on one other thing. You guys, I know that you all seen the article, and it is also on the Officer Jones page about the young man. I don't know, Jay, if you can pull it up, or because I have my thing open. Oh no, you are not. Are you on your computer?
Yep.
Wait a minute, I can pull it up because I'm scared I'm gonna clear this. Well, what it was a white male. He committed a burglary. Then he stole a police car. He rammed 7 police cars, and then he charged the police with the car.
With the car.
They were able to successfully arrest this male with no shots fired.
Not a one shot was fired.
He was a white male. This was on Sean King's page, and it's on my Officer Nakia Jones page. This is proof that I'm telling you all, you have got to know the neighborhood and the people that you serve. These white officers were not afraid of this white man. You know why? Because he looked like them. And to them, that's not a threat. Even though he really was a threat. You committed burglary, you stole a police car, you slammed into 7 police cars, and then you start driving towards officers. I don't care what color you are, you're a threat.
Do you remember the incident? I don't know if it was last year, a couple years ago. The girl who was in the car and she was trying to ram the police officers, and they opened fire on her. I mean, they shot that car up about 30, 45 times.
Yeah,
was that Cleveland?
But
she was trying to get away.
But they boxed her in, and every law enforcement officer knows that we are not supposed to box you, and we're always supposed to give you a means of escape. Ain't that something? Did y'all know that?
No, didn't know that.
We're always supposed to give you a means of escape. We're not supposed to block you in like that.
So they blocked her in, and then they opened fired on her.
Well, it was a male and a female. It was a male driving, a female passenger. So no preserving of life or anything like that. That's why
they didn't have weapons.
So my thing is it the training?
Right.
Or is this proof that maybe you need to have black officers working in black neighborhoods, because a black officer may not have acted that way? Well, I can't say that. If you was black, you committed a burglary, you stole a car, you ran 7 cars, you tried to run me over, shots fired. Now, I told y'all, I get some shootings not justified, but that one would have been justifiable. Right. You just tried to run me over with a car.
That's your weapon.
That's deadly force. Yes, it would have been justifiable. But what I'm saying is that because those white males did not feel threatened, was it that they weren't threatened because I don't even know no other reason except he was white? Because if you're ramming me with a car, you already committed burglary.
Right.
You're a threat.
What gave you the mindset to say we're going to try all the avenues to make sure we don't shoot him?
Empathy.
And you know why? Because of the color of his skin. Mm-hmm. That's sad that us as African Americans do not receive empathy because of the color of our skin. And the sad thing is, it's not just whites.
No.
It's the same way with blacks. Some blacks be like, oh, they're a threat. We don't identify. But when you disrespect your culture, you disrespect yourself. It don't mean I got to like the way you live. No, I don't like no rapist. No, I don't like no man that's beating no woman. No, I don't like no pedophile. But I don't like a pedophile, rapist, or a man beating a woman in any race, or any skin color. White, black, Hispanic, it doesn't make a difference. But it just seems like it's like any felony, any bad thing, put a black face on it. If I put a row of pictures up and said, who murdered somebody, and I had one black male, I guarantee you 90% of the people would say, he did it.
Yep.
What's wrong with society? What have we allowed? It's like we're brainwashed or something.
Yeah. Well, and to your comment, Kai, where you said, well, maybe the black officers should work in the black community. I mean, then we have to start talking about the training. Make sure that the training is appropriate, because it's some black officers that's still treating persons of their own race bad, even, and they know the community. They've been in the community. So then it takes us right back to training and doing what you're supposed to do, the
and
correct
make sure they have the right mindset, because it's sad to say, some black officers become police officers because they were treated badly, or they felt like I was less than. And when they become officers, they feel like, oh, I'm here now. Oh, I'm gonna put y'all all in y'all place, instead of saying, I'm here to help my community. I understand the pains. I understand the hurts in my community. I remember when I was younger. I remember what we went through. I remember this. I'm not saying that you don't arrest people for something they did wrong. What I'm saying is you have compassion and empathy for your community and the people that look like you. I said the best officers in the world are the ones that don't have to affect an arrest, but can affect positive change. Period.
Period. That is it. Period.
Period.
Well,
I did want to say some exciting news. I have a female, and right now she does not want to be. She's a business owner in the city of Atlanta, Georgia, that has offered to donate $5,000 to go toward charter buses to go into poverty-stricken neighborhoods to get you all out to vote. Also, I'm getting volunteers that are going to stand in line for you all, because we know the lines are going to be long. After we're done voting, we're going to stand in line for our seniors, for people that's having problems, and you all can go sit on the bus until it's your turn to vote. So that is something else that we are putting in place right now. I got another call from her that one of her other friends wants to donate another $5,000 to get some more buses. So I will be I have contact information for some councilmen and some senators. So we will be getting that together. If anybody from Atlanta, Georgia, even if you have a felony, listen, right now is important for us to vote. Y'all don't understand. We need to vote like our life depended on it, because it does. Our life, do you hear what I'm telling you? Our life depends on it. We're not going back to no slavery times, and y'all know that. So I'm telling y'all, our vote is so important. And don't you let nobody make you think that the black vote is not the deciding vote, because it is. Why do you think they're targeting the black voters? You got black. I'm black, I'm from Trump. I'm black, I'm from Trump. I've never seen nobody say I'm white, I'm from Trump, or I'm white, I'm from Barack Obama. I ain't never seen I'm Hispanic. Pay attention. It's a division there. Don't even let that nonsense go in your head. It's a trick. It's a trick. Oh, we're going to put all these ads. Trump has done more for the black community. Stop being foolish. Open your eyes. Do you see? What do you see? You can talk me to death, but your actions speak louder than words. You got people that you could have put in place to help bridge the gap, Mr. Trump. You didn't want that. You like all this fighting and rhetoric, and because a house divided against itself, if he keeps the United States divided, it can't stand. We are turning into a third world country. Some of the stuff that we seeing is stuff that we used to watch on TV, and what is happening here? We gotta wake up and open our eyes, and I'm just saying, you better judge the fruit. Judge the tree by the fruit it bears. It's time to vote. So we got another $5,000, which is $10,000. We are going to be chartering buses. I want to shout out Ms. Green and the Survivor Outreach Center. We will be doing it through where I work at. I love her so much. I love you, speedy recovery, Ms. Green. We're praying for you. We're going to be putting out more information for any of you all that are in that community. You'll know where to get the bus, and the buses will be waiting for you. We're also trying to see people that donate coffee or something like. If you have an organization in Atlanta, Georgia area, please, and you want to donate to make this transition easy, please reach out to us. It's very, very important. I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm not here to ask you. I'm not here to, that's not what I'm here for. What I'm telling you is you have got to exercise your voice. And the most powerful thing you have besides protesting, and some of us are not protesters, is to vote. The Black vote is going to be the deciding vote. How do you think President Barack Obama got in office? The Black vote came out in tremendous numbers. Pay attention. Pay attention. Don't get caught sleeping. Pay attention. That's all I got.
Well, and you gotta, when this keeps coming out, you gotta keep us all posted. I think this is just, I love it. I love the vision of it. I think it's also really important where you started to talk about if you have been convicted of a felony, right? And you're unable to vote. This is a way you can still be a part of the process and assisting voters and standing in line. And what's happening in that space is also building community and starting to, nobody has to know whatever your background is, if you're able to vote or not able to vote, but more about we're all in this together and we're all going to help each other, and we're going to allow our elders to rest. We're going to allow our sick and our weary to rest while we hold it down for them. Those of us who are able to body, we should be doing more for our elders and for our weary and for our sick. I think that just should be a daily mantra. So Nakia, kudos to you for this vision. I love it.
I'm excited. We have some more exciting news for law enforcement. It'll be coming down the pipe soon. It's a big movement, baby. It's a big movement. We gonna shake it up. I told you I've been fighting this fight before 2016, before I spoke out. And I haven't stopped, even though I lost everything and most people would have became angry. They would have become disgruntled and they wouldn't have, but I'm still fighting this fight for us as a race, and talking about the human race. Right. The human race. Because we all are in this together, y'all. Racism affects us all, no matter what side you're on.
That's right. Well, all I want to say
is... You've been quiet today.
Who, me?
Yeah, Rachel. No, Rachel been listening like, get him. I can see her head like, get him.
You're like, yep.
I know.
All I wanted to say was we had, this was a good show. We touched on a lot of things. I just want to say we'll be back here on Wednesday, 8:00 next week. And we hope to see you there.
Oh, and please make sure you tune in to Stan Mason's show. That is our brother.
Yes.
We the sister. We the sister.
Right. We the sister crew.
We the brother crew. To the brother
they got a sister on that.
But they got a one day they rocking with one woman too. But they got to have a woman on there. Please stay tuned to his show every Saturday at 11 Eastern Standard.
Yes.
Right.
Eastern Standard.
11 a.m. Eastern Standard. The brother is cold. He's well informed, and he has some amazing people on his staff. Joe, shout out to you. LaRonda, shout out to you. I can't remember Rev's name.
Oh, Tony Tellerman.
Tony Tellerman. What about Tiki or Iki?
It was, I forget his first name.
Isidoro?
Isidoro.
Isadora. And shout out to Chief.
Dale?
Okay.
Is it Dale?
Now we just went.
Can't remember, but shout out to him as well.
Shout out to the Chief that is always on the show.
Absolutely. We love you all. We love you so much. God bless you. Please, you all vote. I think do you all know when the last day to register to vote is?
I think it's in October. And it may also depend on state to state. Let's see.
It is state to state. Rachel said it might be state to state.
Or Heidi.
Y'all best friend, look.
I knew who you was talking about.
You knew I was talking about Boo. Thank you.
Yeah, each state is different, but if you just Google, are you registered to vote? It'll give you a drop-down menu just right there in the Google search, and it'll let you choose your state. Like I'm in Wisconsin. The last day is October 14th. In Ohio.
It's the 5th in Ohio.
Okay, so it's
October
earlier.
5th, y'all. Ohio, I need y'all to show up and show out now. October 5th is your last day to register. What about Georgia?
October 5th also.
October 5th, GA, I need y'all to stand up. Y'all listen, this is where the civil rights movement started. Y'all better show up in serious force. This is where Rosa Parks, that's my spirit. Look, I got that Rosa Parks spirit.
Yes, she does.
Listen, so let's get it. Let's make history again. Let's do it again because we can. I love you all. We love you. We love you. We love you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Oh, y'all was waiting to come out, huh? All right, we off, y'all. Let me wait.